Hello everyone, good afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure to present to you today. I'm the Managing Director of Injector Fire Barrier. Before we begin, just a little bit about me. I joined Injector Fire Barrier in June of 2024 after seeing huge potential within the business. It's a really exciting time. I've got over 20 years of experience ranging from construction, facility management, operations, safety and compliance, commercial sales and management and marketing, and then also business development and partnership building. I'm absolutely thrilled to be a part of Injector Fire Barrier. It's really exciting at the moment, and I'm just happy to be here today. In terms of setting the scene, what we're going to do is we're going to go through a company overview of Injector Fire Barrier. We've got a fantastic introduction video that we send across to all of our clients. We're going to look at some of our highlights, also the impact of legislation, the market opportunity as it stands today, how the system works and its key benefits and what really sets us apart, our accreditations, our strategic outlook, which is obviously very important today, and then in summary, and then at the end, what we're going to do is we're going to do a Q&A session at the very end. Alternatively, you can come see me at the end and I can go through a little bit more detail. So in terms of company overview, we are obviously Injector Fire Barrier. We are leading the way when it comes to cavity fire barrier solutions across a variety of building types. So you've got residential, commercial, industrial and also public buildings. With the extensive experience within fire safety remediation, it puts us at the forefront of building compliance and also ultimately to save lives. What sets us really apart is the fact that we are the first independent injector clad installers within the UK. We are solely focused on the injector clad solution, so we don't get involved in traditional passive fire protection, which enables us to scale at pace and really focus on this particular industry. What I'm going to show to you now is our introduction video. This really sort of tells you about the problem that's facing the UK at the moment and also the problem that we solve.
A major fire broke out at a residential building in London.
The fire, which began in a refrigerator, was fueled by panels.
In the early hours of the morning, this was declared a major incident.
There is nothing left of the zone.
Certain tragic events in the UK and abroad have exposed the significant failures in building safety regulations and fire safety measures. In response, the UK government has allocated £5.1 billion to the Cladding Safety Scheme and introduced the updated Building Safety Act of 2021 and Fire Safety Act of 2022 to address fire risks associated with retrofitted cladding and other cavities in residential buildings. Injector Fire Barrier, a subsidiary of Light Science Technologies Holdings, are working towards ensuring existing structures are safe, giving peace of mind to owners and occupiers. Injector Fire Barrier is the UK's first independent approved installer of the Injector Clad system, suitable for installation across most types of buildings with cavity construction. Designed and tested to the highest industry standards by leading fire professionals Warrington Fire, Injector Clad is an acrylic-based graphite sealant that can be seamlessly inserted into the desired depth and breadth of wall cavities. It expands up to 20 times upon contact with heat, blocking any voids that would allow flames and smoke to spread in the event of a fire. It has become one of the most successful fireproofing methods. Injector Clad has been approved for installation within residential, commercial, industrial and public buildings to reinstate the fire-resistant performance of wall and floor constructions without removing the existing facade, which is often not a viable option. This solution offers huge cost savings, can be installed swiftly across multiple elevations with minimal disruption to occupants, and is kinder to the environment by creating less waste material. With extensive experience in passive fire protection throughout the UK, Injector Fire Barrier is working with other divisions within the group to support future developments which enhance building safety and ultimately save lives.
Thank you for watching. Again, this is the introduction video that we send across to all of our inquiries. So again, it really gives you the depth and detail of obviously the solution and also the problem that's facing the UK at the moment. In terms of highlights of 24-25, really excited to report we're profitable and cash generative after H2. We've received orders to date of £2.7 million. In terms of our quoted pipeline, that's currently sitting at 14.5 million. So what that means is that's qualified pipeline. So we've pre-qualified that. So just to give you a bit more detail, what's effectively happened is they've contacted us. We've provided them with obviously the guidance. They give us all the technical data. They also supply the FRU report, which is a fire risk appraisal of external walls. That's all been collated through fire engineers. We then effectively go through the report in great detail, and a number of these reports, it actually specifies the injector-clad solution. So what that means is that enables us to be able to quote them accordingly. Then what we do is we go on site, we obviously assess, meet the team, assess effectively the project. We then quote against the project on two elements. One is injection price, and then also prelims. And then what happens is we then put them through as a qualified. So this is quoted pipeline at 14.5 million. Again, that's against 23 quoted inquiries. However, within our system, we've actually got 57 quoted inquiries. Again, these are unquoted, the remaining, but we estimate circa of around up to £35 million. In terms of margin, I wanted to add a little bit more detail on that, but mindful of the data. So it's a very, very strong margin business. Since joining the business, it's grown significantly from inquiries. So we've actually had a 130% increase on inquiries to date. So that's really, really demonstrating, and that's growing day by day as we see. In terms of visitor increases on social media, we've had a 213% increase on social media. We're really, really banging the drum just to try and create as much awareness as possible. Again, this is amongst a variety of, again, fire engineers, architects, building owners. There's obviously a lot of buildings out there that obviously need to be rectified. And then looking at partnerships, we've created some great partnerships, which I'll go into some detail a little bit later. Some of our partners that we're currently working with some of the biggest contractors in the UK, they've got portfolios of between 10 and up to 300 buildings. So they've actually engaged us to say, look, we want to form a partnership agreement with you where we've got a large portfolio and we'd like to effectively use you across all of our buildings. So that's really, really exciting at the moment. And then to date and in progress, we are currently working on 10 significantly very large buildings up and down the UK as we speak. So that's some of our highlights. In terms of looking at legislation and how that impacts us, again, following the tragic events of Grenfell back in 2017, where 72 people lost their lives, it's ultimately reshaped the fire safety legislation across the UK. So you've got the Fire Safety Act 2021. Again, this is around building owners and managers assessing the fire risks for their external walls, balconies, cladding, and also their windows. This is around increase of risk of fire assessments. Again, this is predominantly around residential buildings. You've then got the Building Safety Act of 2022. This is all around accountability. Particularly, this is around high-rise buildings at over 11 metres. So it's about making sure that those particular individuals have got the urgency to ensure that they're accountable to get them obviously resolved. Government-wise, there's a government initiative around £6.1 billion, and that's been allocated specifically for the cladding and fire safety remediation. They've actually drawn down £1.1 million at the moment. So again, there's still around £5 billion worth of opportunity when it comes to specific funding through the government. In particular, they're looking around cost-effective solutions, around fire protection solutions. And then in terms of sort of total market demand, you've got stricter regulations around sort of compliance-focused solutions. What that is pushing is around minimising cost and disruption. And then ultimately, from our perspective, it makes us an ideal solution based on the injector-clad solution. So looking at market opportunity, what we've got is we've got a bottom-up analysis. What this is taking into account is you've got high-rise buildings. These are put into two categories, high-rise and mid-rise. High-rise buildings are above 18 metres. The number of remediation buildings in the UK is currently facing around 11,000. Our typical quoted pipeline, we foresee it's around £1 million up to 4 million. Again, there's a number of variable factors in there based on the cavity depth. So again, we charge based on linear metre and obviously the size of the cavity. So again, if you've got a cavity that's 30 mil, for an example, versus a cavity that's 200 mil, it's obviously going to be more expensive. So in terms of typical project value, that's between $1 million and then up to around four times that. And then you've got the total addressable market, we estimate around £11 billion. So what that means is you've got high-rise building, you've got the EWS 1, which is the external wall survey. So again, if they've got a B1 or B2 rating, effectively that's a non-compliant building. So again, that's a fire risk, and then essentially you've got the associated risk of being a fire risk, you've then got the potential being unable to sell the building, and then also you've got increased insurance premiums if you failed in EWS 1. In terms of mid-rise buildings, again, these are buildings from 11 metres to 18 metres, and number of remediation buildings in the UK is around 33,000. Typical quoted value for us is around £500,000 up to £1 million. So total addressable market is around 16.5 billion. So again, the opportunity is significant. Looking at the top-down analysis, in terms of the total fire safety remediation within the UK, it's estimated to be worth around 50 billion. But of course, that's obviously depending on that particular type of solution. So that's total market opportunity. Now, looking across at our target markets, typically, as I mentioned, you've got residential buildings, social housing, high-rise buildings, apartments, council and housing associations. You've got commercial buildings, again this is offices, retail spaces, and then you've got mixed-use developments. You've also then got industrial, which is warehouse, factories and logistical hubs. And then you've got public spaces such as hospitals, libraries, conference facilities and schools. Interestingly enough, based on my analysis, we've actually received quite a number of inquiries about commercial property being converted into residential. So we've really been supporting a number of our clients through that transition. In terms of end customers, typically these are building owners and developers that would contact us. And then you've also then got the contractors and consultants. So again, effectively there'll be a principal primary contractor where they'll obviously speak to ourselves about supporting them through that transition of the remediation project. In terms of other stakeholders, you've got the government and regulatory bodies, again around building safety standards. And then you've got fire engineers, architects, again specifying the remediation project. We get a number of inquiries from fire engineers where they've specified within the particular reports that they are recommending the Injectaclad solution. And then you've got tenant associations. Again, there's a big push at the moment and obviously a lot of coverage in the news around the EWS1 compliance, around where buildings, they need to be obviously certified and obviously signed off. And if they haven't, then effectively they need to get that remediation work completed. So just to recap, how a system works. It's an acrylic-based graphite sealant, and then what it's effectively done is we pump it into a void under compression, and then we use reinforced mesh, which is made of polyester, and then we've got stainless steel holding pins. So what it does, it holds it in place. I wish I had a laser, I could demonstrate it for you here. And then again, it's developed and tested by leading fire engineer experts for full regulatory compliance. It expands upon heat, so what that means is when it's in terms of heat and fire, it expands up to 20 times its size. So if you've got a void and obviously a PIR, for example, or insulation, if that burns away, what it does, it expands into that void. And then what it does, it gives the occupants up to 120 minutes of safety. So again, really, really important. And again, what it does then happens is it creates a regulatory compliant fire barrier system. In terms of its key benefits and what really sets us apart is you don't need to remove the existing building facade. We get a lot of clients come to us saying, look, we've been quoted millions upon millions of pounds to remove a building facade, whereas this particular solution, they don't need to do that. It's a speedier installation compared to traditional facade removal. Again, we can actually install it vertically or horizontally. And again, that's pretty much the standard. And then in terms of occupants, it's minimal disruption. So one of the key benefits that we get asked is we don't need to ask people to leave the building, their homes effectively. From our solution, it's all completed externally. There's no disruption whatsoever. And as you can imagine, being a developer or a building owner, you don't want that additional cost. It's more environmentally friendly, again, because you're creating less waste material, because again, you're not removing the facade of a building. So the benefits there are, again, you don't need to remove the facade, speedier installation, it's minimal disruption, and it's more environmentally friendly. When it comes to quality assurance, again, once you've completed the work, unfortunately, the amount of care and dedication that goes into the job itself, you can't see because you've obviously put the facade back. So what we do is we record everything on a system called Fire Arrest for quality assurance. And then what it does, it instills client confidence. And in terms of trackability, they've got full visibility within the app. So we record up to 15 to 20 images of each and every single stage of the process. So again, exposing the cavity, installing the pins, inserting the sock, closing the cavity, and then effectively they've got pretty much a closed sort of system. Again, the client's got full visibility, so when we're on a project, they can dial in, they can see all the information, and at the very end, they get a full report, and then we'll issue a conformity certificate at the end of the project. Again, that's backed through IFC. Now, in terms of some of the projects to date, and this is just a few to date, we're very proud of these projects. So we've got projects in progress and also some completed. So we've got a Salford project, that value was at £600,000. That was a vertical installation. Again, it just demonstrates the partnership that we've created with some of our clients. Originally, from memory, that was around 6 buildings. And then they've asked us to come back for a part 2, should we say, effectively, for an additional 2 buildings. So you've got Salford part 2 on the right-hand side, which was valued at 1.175 million. And then you've got a project that we completed in Liverpool, which was for a medical research facility. Again, that was a vertical installation. And then we've completed a project, or it's in progress, at Nottingham, which was valued at 757,000. That was actually student accommodation. And again, we seem to be getting a large influx of student accommodation coming through. So that's just a handful of some of the projects that we've got going on, and many, many more on the pipeline. And then with regards to some of our testimonials, I really urge you, if you can, this is just a little bit of a snippet and a snapshot. If you've got a chance to go onto our website, it's a lot more in depth. So these are some of our testimonials, which sort of demonstrates and highlights the quality of our work. So we've got Key Square Consult, which was in Salford. We've got Vinci, which I'm sure some of you will recognise, which was for student accommodation in Nottingham. And then we've got Tilbury Douglas, again a very large company, which was for the medical research facility in Liverpool. And some of the things that they've really mentioned to us was, A, we didn't know you were there because we were so quiet. Ease of installation, cost savings, minimal disruption, and then the professionalism from start to finish. Now, looking at our accreditations, again, we're very proud that we hold a number of leading industry accreditations. So just to name these ones, so effectively what this demonstrates is our safety and quality and compliance, our dedication. So we're IFC certification, so that's the International Fire Consultants. You've then got the Building UK Regulators and Fire Safety Standards. You've got the ASFP, which is the Association for Specialist Fire Protection. Again, this is all around regulatory compliance. And then obviously the benefit is around enhancing our reputation, quality and safety, which has accredited. So this is about health and safety assessment scheme and around pre-qualification within the construction industry. And we've just recently been awarded the Construction Line Gold from Silver. And again, this is all around pre-qualification certification, and it's about the highest standards in governance and procurement. And in terms of it helps us when it comes to the tendering process. I suppose to mention why this is really, really important is a number of these accreditations, if we don't have them, our clients won't work with us. So when we go to pre-meetings or we're speaking to clients, if we don't hold a number of these accreditations, they will not work with us. They will not add us to within their framework. So it really, really does set us apart. And it also sets us apart on the basis that as only a handful of installers, we've got a number of accreditations that a number of the competition don't have. So looking at strategic outlook for the next 12 months, again, it's around leading the way, and obviously continuing to be the leader as an independent installer of the InjectClad solution. continuously raising awareness, banging the drum when it comes to, speaking to fire engineers, architects, and also the building safety regulator. Leveraging our quoted pipeline of 14.5 million. And again, that's predominantly focused around high-rise buildings, mid-rise buildings, and then also working with our partners around getting a hold of their portfolio and looking after it for them. We've then got around looking at our systems and processes, and then also acquiring additional pumps, and then building on our team, and then obviously continuously developing our existing fire protection specialists. So in summary, I was going to say massive, but I'm not going to say massive. Large market, it's a very, very large market and incredibly strong margin. It's low risk. We're very cash generative, which is fantastic, which is based on our margin. We've got first mover advantage. We're highly scalable within our teams. Again, we can do a number of projects very, very quickly. And then we're a strong contributor to the group. And that's very, very important. So thank you all for listening. I hope you found the presentation insightful. And myself and Andrew welcome any questions that you may have.